Hey guys, welcome to the Flip Lab. I'm back here with Ryan Zolin. Me and Ryan did a podcast about a year ago talking about how he's doing deals off the MLS. I think since last time we talked, he's now racked up in 2022 over $1 million in revenue for the business. He's grown his team. He's grown his brand. He's all over the place on social media, so it's pretty cool to see, a year later, all the progression, and congrats on all the new endeavors and everything that you got going on.
It's been crazy for sure. Definitely, a lot has changed since we talked on the podcast last time. I've been super humbled, but it's been the people around me. Like, it's all about who, not how, and I'm just really fortunate the people on the team that we work with are incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people obviously could watch the last one. We talked a lot about just finding deals off the MLS, and right. I know we'll go more into new layers you've added to the strategy, but right. I think the biggest growth I've seen, seeing you as my friend and around town, is just the team that you've grown.
For sure.
What would you say is has been the key to the success of growing a team and kind of growing the vision that you're building?
I realized a lot of it actually came through Albert, but it was through structure. It was systems and processes and structure that we were needing to be able to actually track our metrics. Mm-hmm. So while I was having a lot of success doing all these strategies with the MLS, there was no way of actually tracking what we were doing. So implementing a CRM, implementing KPIs, implementing the right people this time around on top of the structure, it adds a lot more. I don't know. It's like an actual business, I guess we could call it.
Right. You're not just like a side hustle kind of.
Sure, without a doubt.
Trying to do a few deals.
Let's see, we had the brands, but it's the stuff behind the scenes that actually is what makes it a stronger company, and it's not just the people; it is the systems.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it's all kind of hand in hand though when you look at finding those right people on your team. I know obviously Albert, is super important to your team.
For sure.
What would you say to someone who's new, kind of stuck in that side hustle? What's that first hire that you should be looking for growing a team?
I talk about it a lot with the people that I coach, but if I had to go back and start over, it's a transaction coordinator. I think the one thing that stumps a lot of people is the paperwork, and it pulls them away from their production. So I think if they were able to find the person, again, who, not how, would be a transaction coordinator to take the paperwork, the file management, all of that off your plate, it allows you to find more time to go and acquire that more opportunities.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess some people look at it like hiring a sales guy, but I'm try to save those biggest revenue generating activities for
right.
your A-type players,
for sure.
And kind of, get someone to take care of that monotonous work.
Definitely. And I mean, once you get a TC, then transition to another acquisition person, take yourself out of acquisitions, go on the dispo side. But you've got to find the right people. Obviously, in order to have the core, you can't just go and hire a TC that you expect to be with you for a few months. You've got to look into the future with these people, and you've got to provide enough value for them to want to stick around over time too.
And how do you think you've been able to find people that are buying into your vision? And I feel like everyone on your team really kind of sees the bigger picture with what you're trying to build.
Yeah, honestly, it's being transparent. So a lot of times, what a lot of, I think, business owners do is it's about, this is what your worth is, this is what your job tasks are, and this is what I expect of you, and we'll do quarterly increment, checks, we'll do 90-day checks, whatever it is, you want to find a way to be transparent and authentic. So the people around you, if they don't believe in you as a person and a leader and the vision of where you're trying to take this, you're never going to find the right people because you don't know what you're looking for yourself. So obviously, I mean, yes, you hit it right on the head. My team has bought into the vision, but it's also because I've pulled back the curtains and I have nothing to hide. They can see exactly what the numbers are. They know how many deals we have. I'm not the guy going in saying, oh yeah, we made this much money and it was at this percentage. No, you got to tell them what the real numbers are. They understand it's a business. They know what the overhead is with the office building and some of the systems, but they understand the value of what it could be attaching their boat to a bigger boat with us.
Yeah. And I know, to your original story last time, I think about how you kind of attached yourself to Templeton, who was the bigger boat at the time. And now, you're kind of building your own thing, which is really cool to see you doing. So last year you did how much in 2021 in revenue?
It was 1.1 gross. And then I personally netted around 700.
And which is super impressive, obviously. But this year you've done already over $1 million.
Yeah, I think we're at 1.6 or 1.7 now, and we've got some pretty big flips that are going to be closing here in the next couple.
Yeah, so 1.6, we're in April, so pacing for multi-million dollars this year in your business. Goal's $5 million. What do you think is the biggest challenge from going from $1 million last year, smaller operation, to what you're trying to do this year of $5 million?
6 months, but I think a lot of it goes back to structure. Once you can figure out how to go personally, this is how I did it. I learned to make a mess. And I don't always say that this is the best route, but I learned just to make a lump sum of money. I'll clean it up as I go. So it was then the systems and processes. It was then the right people. And as you go and you structure along that, I think it's just consistency. I think you have all the pieces in play, fail forward, take action, be consistent. You'll get the results you're looking for, or you'll figure out where you need to pivot pretty quickly.
Yeah, and has your strategy pretty much stayed the same as far as how you guys are finding deals currently?
Yeah, we have just gotten like a little bit more in depth on our searches and our criteria on the MLS, and then we built out like a proprietary Excel sheet that codes the back end of the MLS, and it tells the team what their targets are every single day. So for the acquisitions guys, they log in, they've got a spreadsheet on their Google Drive every day, and it says this is the low-hanging fruit, this is perfect for hedge funds, this is one that I'd go and offer on. Just gives them like the optics of what to go look at from a data perspective rather than going and scrolling through photos on the MLS.
I love that. You got to hook our team up with that, man.
We will work on it.
But I love that. MLS is obviously your focus. What would you say like main points of why do you like finding deals off the MLS compared to direct to seller marketing?
So this is just like specific for my strategy where I realize being the agent, the hardest part is finding the client. The hardest part of being on the investment side for any investor is going to be finding the deal.
Yeah.
So I just bridged the gap myself, realizing that we utilize our strategy of the double dip, where we get the commission by representing ourselves as the buyer's agent and a wholesale fee. So, I mean, our strategy with that, I don't know, I think it's just kind of been like our specialty. I don't know. I don't really want to stray too far away from that.
Do you recommend people like to get licensed to utilize your strategy, or just link up with a realtor?
There's more money to be made if you are licensed. I personally also believe that I think in the next 5 years you're going to need a license, but it's not required. We actually just did a video on that today with Brandon on the team, where in his like introduction videos we're doing, he's like, I'm not licensed. You don't need to be licensed. It's just more lucrative when you have it.
Yeah. So. I mean, shit, our team's done, implementing your strategies, like I think over 200K in assignments in Arizona in the past couple months. And no one on our team is licensed, but we've definitely have found ourselves in opportunities paying out buyer's commissions to agents where we could have been eating that on the double dip.
This is the best of both worlds. Because you didn't get the commission, you were able to provide value to another realtor who's then going to bring you more opportunities in the future.
Yeah. So. Now, do you find yourself, if you do a deal with one realtor, do those realtors then continue to feed deals in the future? Because
depends how the transaction was, of course.
I feel like a difference. So in direct to seller, you do a deal once with a seller, there's a very small chance you're ever going to get another house from that seller.
For sure. You don't have a relationship with them unless it was somebody personally referred to you, or that they just, for whatever reason, came across your ad at the right time and they trust you.
Yeah.
The direct to seller method, it's a tough game. And so I think like, with the realtors, it's all about value, right? It's like I said, the hardest part for them is finding the client. So if you become a client that was the easiest to work with and you provided a value by a resource of just, hey, find a deal on the MLS, bring me an off-market opportunity before you list it, and they got paid from you, that's a referral. They're going to love bringing every opportunity to you going forward. That's where I always say, like in the business world, I think everybody would agree with this. They want all of their business to be 100% referral-based and repeat business. Like you said, you're not getting that direct to seller. Realtors, even if you only do one deal with them, great. You could still send follow-up messages so that you're the first person that comes to mind when they do come across the next opportunity. Or a better case, that realtor becomes in your VIP list and you do more than one deal a month with them, and it's a win-win.
Yeah, because I envision my team, and you're obviously been doing the MLS and the realtor strategy a lot longer than me, but I'm envisioning like Mike and Brandon, my acquisitions guys, every deal that they close through a realtor, now that's like added to their list of a realtor that they've done a deal with. Absolutely. And I foresee in 6 months to a year that it's going to become easier possibly to get deals, because those realtors will be sending us deals instead of kind of always trying to go find the deal.
You've got a number of realtors and you've got hundreds of them where you're the first person that comes to mind. Congratulations.
Have you been seeing that snowball effect already since when you first implemented the MLS strategy?
That's what I refer to as the VIP buyer or VIP realtors. The way I classify them is anybody I do more than one deal a month with, or anybody I've done 2 deals with a lifetime. So right now in our rotation, there is no realtor. There might be one that I think Kyle's working with that brings us a deal a month.
Yeah.
Aside from that, VIP realtors are 2+ deals I've done with them all time. And I send pretty consistent follow-up messages to them, whether it's just through social media or I've got most of their birthdays in my cell. So I'll call them, text them, I'll send them a gift card. Little things like that, so you're first of mind with these realtors and you don't lose that touch, even if they're not bringing you deals consistently.
Yeah, I feel like those little things go a long way when it comes to realtors because they talk to a lot of people.
Well, dude, and I will tell you this is just a trick, like a little tip. Realtors do not get appreciated enough. So they are the one people in the entire world that I've seen where they're consistently told they're not worth what their pay is. And on top of that too, when anything goes wrong in a transaction that wasn't even their fault, the realtor's the one to get blamed. So if you're a client and you're trying to provide value aside from just, hey, bring me deals, send them a basket, send them a gift card, pay for their coffee, do little details to where they're like, wow, who was this guy and why can't I do more deals with them? Or why don't I just want to be around them more? Like, let's find ways for them to now feel like they have to bring you value, which in return would be most likely a deal.
And I think too, like right now, I'm seeing a lot of realtors right now. They're hungry for deals.
It's a tough market out there,
right?
Yeah.
There's not that many listings.
Yep.
It's tough to find houses. So you find those that are really hustlers and you vibe with, and you let them know that they can make double. Like we just paid a realtor, she made 16 grand instead of 8 grand.
Representing both sides.
Yeah, representing both sides.
Yep.
I mean, it's almost like a deal. If you could increase your average deal value per deal,
For sure.
that's a better metric to move than more deals because more deals is more work.
Even if the worst case scenario in that deal was you only made a $5,000 assignment and your realtor made 16, you still made $5,000. Do that 5 more times in a month and there you go.
Yeah, totally. So 5 million is the goal this year,
Yep.
right? How many people are on your team in order to do that? Because I feel like some people hear $5 million a year, he must need like 50 guys out there on the phones.
I have to think about that. There's me, Albert, Amber, Tanner, Kyle, Brandon, Jake. We got Miles now, Anthony. 10 of us?
Yeah.
Sounds
So a
right.
team of about 10.
Yeah, call it 10.
And how many of those are sales guys?
3.
3 sales guys.
Yep.
You have a TC, project manager, some dispo help,
Yep.
media guy.
Yep, and a lot of us wear multiple hats. So that's
Yeah.
the other kind of cool thing about being on a team like mine where it's super small and we're still very like up and coming. Like I've got a lot of stuff I'm still trying to figure out, but it allows people on my team to wear multiple hats to have multiple streams of income. So
Yeah.
got some of the guys on the team that take sales calls for the courses. My transaction coordinator handles paperwork. She also does her own deals. She also gets paid on like investment stuff where she's invested into flips before. So I don't really restrict people on my team from being able to like truly maximize profits.
No, I see that. Even today, I think you guys were all like creating the media room, and it seems like it's just a good vibe over there. Everyone's kind of doing their part.
We're all such great people and friends, and it's just it's a vibe, definitely a vibe.
So I know it's definitely allowed you now to kind of free up your time, not being involved in all the transactions,
Right.
to kind of look at kind of the macro perspective of your business.
Right.
Where do you kind of see yourself going over maybe the next year?
My goal has always been impact. It's been like trying to find ways to provide value in the relationships that I have and that I'm building. And I realize I have the ability to do that on a mass scale now with more time. So between speaking events, going to more masterminds, being a little bit more active within the community, that's kind of my overall goal. And so I think it's going to be just trying to build the community up that we already are within our Discord and our meetups, and then probably just getting on more stages and spreading the message of how to do this at an efficient rate. So.
And I know your group, kind of your tribe's agent investors.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm a big believer in it because I haven't gotten through the weeds of it, but obviously I talk to you all the time.
Right.
We try to help each other out with our businesses, and I implemented pretty much that strategy, and I just saw my business out here in Arizona take off.
Dude, I remember we went to, it was the Hidden House for dinner.
Yeah.
It was like 2 days later, you text me, you're like, this agent said this, like, what's happening? I'm like, you got a deal. Congrats.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, like, how fast the results come with this strategy. It's just about taking action and doing it at a mass level. Fail forward and make mistakes. Like, you're not going to crush it in your very first phone call unless your name is Tanner on the team. But, like, you're literally not going to, like, make one phone call or find one deal and it's going to be something. But here's the reality check. It's not that way on the direct to seller method either. You're not going to go in and make one call to a seller or door knock one seller and they sell your house at 60% of the market value.
I mean, we still do direct to seller marketing, but
Sure.
I mean, shit, we've been spending 10, 15 grand a month for years doing direct to seller, and there's some weeks, months where not much is happening, but
Right.
I think the difference though is like you're spending a lot of money on each one of those leads that doesn't convert. You're like, oh shit, man, I spent like $200 on that PPC click or whatever.
They were just curious. Like,
Yeah. But calling that next agent, that's like unlimited kind of and free.
There's no limitations to it. The sky is like obviously you could do whatever you want. There's no ceiling within this strategy.
Yeah. Now, are you just focused on Arizona, or have you thought about, kind of branching out the business and
So we're
doing
in other markets now too. We do deals in Arizona, Florida, Vegas, and Atlanta, and we've got a few markets within those states. So,
Do you feel like that the agent investor strategy is focused better on markets where you could be selling to like hedge funds at top ARV compared to like other markets where the local guys kind of have to buy further off ARV and maybe it's harder to kind of convince the realtor to come down a little bit off their listing price?
that's a really good question. So the hedge fund strategy works great. There's obviously a lot of caveats that come with working with hedge funds between response time, between inspections, price reductions. Like you have to own the property for a certain amount of time. There's a lot of stuff that goes into the hedge fund side where it's a lot more strategy with working on market. We just started doing that about a month ago, and we've seen crazy success. Like we're talking like $70,000 plus in 30 days. So I think the strategy to hedge funds work. I don't think that people should be discouraged with their on-market strategies within their markets. Just find the few guys that are doing it at a high level, and that's all you need. When I first started doing the strategy, I worked with 5 guys in Tucson. That was it. So I think that obviously be mindful if there's a very small market population-wise and the traffic or the turnover rate for the properties is, 15 to 20 days minimum on market. Okay, maybe venture out of your market a little bit, go virtual. You could use other people's MLSs. You could use Privy. You could just squat up with other realtors in other markets. But regardless, like find ways to not shut off the market that you're in currently. I always say even if you're in a smaller market, you could still pull 5 to 6 deals a year just by your backyard because you know what a deal is.
Right.
So don't get discouraged. Still work with the realtors out there and still be submitting offers, but your primary focus doesn't need to be that. The answer, long story short to everything, is there is no right way. You can focus on hedge funds if you want. There's going to be pros and cons to that. You could go and you could do your market. If it's too small, pros and cons. You could find a virtual, pros and cons.
Yeah.
The most important thing, just take action.
I was just talking to a guy in Jersey today, and he knows I live out in Arizona, and he's like, man, I should be virtual in Arizona and not in New Jersey. I'm like, dude, you can make money there. You can make money virtually here.
Anywhere.
It's about just like, what are you going to wake up and do every day, do it consistently? And
dude, it's the analogy I always talk about with my team. Like, we've got a running joke, but it's the one that everyone's heard before. It's about the blue Jeep. Like, you're like all excited. You go to the dealership, you buy your blue Jeep, you drive it off the lot, and you're like, yeah, this is a one of a kind. On the way home, you're going to see 5 more blue Jeeps, and you're going to be like, what the hell? Why didn't I see this before?
Right.
It's the same concept with deals. You tell yourself the deals are out there and that you're looking for them. You're going to find them. Brent actually said this on the show last week, the Millionaire Before 31.
Yep.
And he was like, people don't realize, but you have an amazing, life-changing deal presented to you once a week.
Wow.
Literally once a week. But people miss it. They don't know what the deal looks like. They don't know how to structure it. They don't know when to jump on the opportunity. So if that's encouragement of there's plenty of opportunities out there, just go and find them. Stick to something consistently. I mentioned off those 3 strategies. That doesn't mean try all 3. That means, okay, focus on 1 or 2. Focus on your backyard first. Focus on hedge funds. Focus on going virtual. Whichever of those it is that is your most passionate, focus on that. Give it 90 days and then see what happens.
Yeah. So no money. You're in your local market. What do you do to get your first deal?
I mean, I would just start calling realtors, and you could find them anywhere. I mean, I'll list off a bunch. There's Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, grocery carts at the store. I mean, bus stops. You could
just post a Facebook post in like a local group, and hey,
strategies we talk about.
Anyone know a great realtor? And in the comments, you have every realtor like,
yep.
Choose me.
That's literally one of the strategies that we created and put into the course was like specific verbiage to put onto social media where you're going to get flooded with people. And you go and you create that army of realtors. Again, we just talked about at the beginning of this, you're looking for your VIPs. You're looking for the realtors that are willing to go to bat for you and bring you any opportunity.
Going to bat, what does that sound like compared to a realtor that you just know right away you're never going to do a deal with?
You call them and they're like, well, what does that mean? I'm looking for distressed properties. I mean, the uglier the better. I just want to be the first person you think of. Okay, so if I found that, it would be like they start asking questions. They're engaging with the conversation. You'll tell when a realtor's not going to be a good fit for you when they say, oh, no, I don't do that. There's no deals on the MLS. I don't work with investors. I only work with this investor. Okay, sounds good. No worries. Still try to find a way that you could bring value in that conversation by pivoting. And you see that in a lot of the challenges and live calls that I do with these realtors. Mm-hmm. But just understand, sometimes you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink it. So if you go in with the right hook right away saying, I'm looking for distressed properties, and they don't seem to engage in the conversation, move on. Don't waste your time. I promise you there's like 50,000 other realtors out there.
I think there's like 70,000 just in Phoenix, right? Yeah. So just find ones who kind of get it.
For sure. And I would also argue too, you're looking for like 5 good realtors. Wouldn't you like the 5 to be people that you really enjoy calling and talking to and hanging out with? Probably. So go and find those 5 out of 70,000. Even if you're doing deals with the ones that you don't necessarily love, they're still going to be bringing you value by bringing you more deals. So just find the 5 you're looking for.
And do you call the realtors that have listings currently, or just like random realtors?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goes back to there's no like one size fits all of this. You could go the strategy of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, calling on market deals and going direct to the listing agent trying to call them. We do that strategy where we represent ourselves. Or the alternative is that you call agents that don't have listings and you just reach out to them and say, hey, I'm looking for properties like this. Do you have anything, or do you have something coming up, or do you know anybody?
So call the realtor, find ones that vibe with you, maybe want to double represent, the ones who are kind of like, not like highest and best by 6 p.m.
On Sunday, we're not taking any offers.
Yeah, no, you want the realtor who's like, yo, I got a deal. We have an offer at 350. If you go 355, they're ready to sign, ready to get it done.
Yep.
So you find that realtor, and then you talk to your dispo guys or your buyers, and you're kind of like almost at the same time, like, hey, this realtor is saying we could get the deal done at 355. What do you think you could sell it for, maybe? For sure. And then maybe the dispo.
Or where we're at in this process is we just commit to stuff that we're very confident in. We're trying to find a process where we can connect our buyers with the deal, of course, but that's where it gets a little gray of agency, because if I'm representing myself as the buyer, getting the commission, and then going and negotiating on behalf of our buyer, it becomes a little sticky in our process.
Sure.
So that's where we're locking up the properties ourselves with a number that we're willing to commit to, and then we'll turn around and we'll wholesale it to our buyers.
You just know what those buyers kind of buy at, and you're like, okay, well, like, there should be plenty of spread here.
Sure.
I don't know maybe exactly how much.
You could utilize going and asking for a price reduction. Obviously, you don't ever want to lead with that.
Yeah, inspection periods and,
and
things like
that. Realtors are used to negotiations. That's the beauty of this entire strategy, is that in direct to seller, buyer pays all closing costs. Most of the time, you don't get into the property until you have an assignment signed and committed to the deal. In this part of the transaction, realtors are used to closing costs being split down the middle, buyer and seller. They're used to an inspection period. They're used to repairs being asked to being made or price reductions. They're used to all of this. They might have gotten spoiled in this market where they're cash as is or waived appraisal or quick close, everyone throwing the kitchen sink at it to get the deal done. I get that, but those realtors aren't going to last long term. And again, you're looking for like 5. So.
Yeah. How would you recommend people to get better at comping to get confident in that they're locking stuff up at the right number? Because I just see so many new wholesalers, just seems like they just don't know how to comp and they're locking up bad properties.
So, I mean, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there. I know like Jamil does one like straight out of comping where he's basically breaking down comping properties and he'll do it live for people.
Yeah.
I would say finding end buyers that are truly end buyers, asking them how they got their prices. Maybe find a way where you're bringing value to that conversation instead of just asking them for information. But if you find out what their favorite coffee is, you find out where they like to eat or shop or whatever, and you send a gift card and you say, hey, I want a 5-minute call. Things like that will catch their attention and they'll be like, wait, what? Okay, yeah, you're asking a question on how to comp this. I did this, this, and this. Like everybody does it so differently too that there is no right way of how to do this. Yeah. I would just say it's about finding a way to provide value if you're trying to ask from somebody specific. Aside from that, there's so many YouTube videos.
Yeah. Just don't be fucking lazy.
Yeah, don't be lazy. I mean, and don't be the one either that's just like, oh, I'm just going to go 70% minus repairs.
Yeah, you see that shit a lot.
Like, yeah, and I get that too, but you got to really know your numbers specifically when you're going to go in and write a bunch. You got to be willing to sell them off at a number that makes sense. You can't just go and get a bunch of properties under contract and cancel. Your reputation will obviously go down pretty quickly.
It'll be interesting to see too, man, like with what happens with the market. Any thoughts? Like we're in May 2022, interest rates going up.
I have a weird feeling, and I've talked to a few of my mortgage guys about this. I think the market's going to have one more dip. I think you're going to see the rates go down one more time slightly, and then I think it's going up. And I don't think you're going to see the dip again for a minute. So I don't know what exactly that's going to do for like every market, because I think that Arizona specific, we're like exempt. There's so much demand and such a lack of supply that even while we've seen a little bit of increase in inventory on the market, it's still not changing the fact that you may not get 15 offers day one.
Right.
You're going to get 5.
But it went from I think 5,000 inventory to now I think it's 7,500 in the past few weeks, but that's still relatively very low.
28,000 is a healthy market in Arizona.
Right.
So with 7,000 active inventory, I don't see our market getting crazy affected. I think what you're going to see, I mean, this is just basic economics, but the rates go up, the people that are going to get affected are buying in higher price points. But the catch here is that the ones that are buying at higher price points generally just weren't using as much liquid. They were just utilizing good interest rates by other people's money. So now rates going up, they're going to have to either put up their hard-earned cash to get a lower interest rate or a better payment, or they're going to just have to suffer with not being able to buy a higher price point. They're going to go slightly below. Aside from that, the cost of like your first-time home buyer, instead of it being like $400,000, it may go back down to like $350,000.
Yeah, I guess. And what would you suggest, like the best way to, I guess, mitigate that risk? Because none of us have a crystal ball.
Of course. Don't spend money you can't afford to lose. And also, when you're making an investment into a house, don't think of it as like money you're going to lose. Understand that as long as you're planning on living in the home, it's an investment. It's an investment in your future. It's an investment into something that has the ability to appreciate, which historically it still will. And even if it does go down in the market, guess what? The value of the house may go down, but when the market goes down, rent goes up. So then you could transition, you could go into another place, you could find another house that's smaller, move into, and then cash flow by renting out your house. So there's just, I would say it's about, there's risk in anything. Try to just make sure it's strategic risk. You're obviously not just going to buy a house you couldn't afford and you're relying on it appreciating so you could sell it in 30, 60 days. Don't do that.
Right.
Plan on living in the house, and I don't think you could go wrong.
Yeah. If you plan on holding long term, or just don't get caught up in.
You just bought end of September.
Yeah.
And you've got probably a few $100,000 of equity.
Yeah. No, I know it's crazy. Obviously Phoenix is like, compared to a lot of other places in the country, is not the same. But
last I checked, in appreciation,
in
1 year. That's insane.
Right. It really is. But who knows what the future holds? But
we'll see.
Either way, there's deals to do, right? Market up, market down. There's still ways to find deals.
Buy lower, sell lower, and guess what? If you're playing the game and you're saving up your liquid right now, when this market goes down,
get ready to eat.
We were just in Vegas, and Robert Kiyosaki said this on stage. He's like, historically, when the market goes down, I make a lot more money, and I'm like, it's brilliant.
It's true.
That's it.
If people want to learn how to do your strategy, finding deals off the MLS, how do they get in this agent investor community?
Yeah, so it's agentinvestors.com. Use your code.
Oh yeah, FlipLab.
Yeah, use code FlipLab, get $100 off. But yeah, no, we're teaching people. I get the question all the time where it's like, is this for realtors or is it for investors? The slogan of the course is that it's designed for agents, made for investors. It's for these agents to understand that you could use this one tool in the tool belt to triple your income, and for investors to understand that it is not scary talking to agents. Here's how you do it. Even if you're not licensed, you can utilize the strategies. So
shit work, guys. I mean, my team's implementing it every single day. So I appreciate you, coming on the podcast again, and thank you for all your help with my Arizona business.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. Thanks, dude.